Bonsoir! This is the L2C Media Network, and we are on late, so let's just get going. This is Sports Final, brought to you by the L2C Media Network. It's a Sunday, and our sporty balls are back to being ginormous. Here, speaking of ginormous, Steve the Baxman Baxley. Okay, I'd like to find out who said that. Hi, I was talking to the producers. Anyway, welcome everybody to the Fred McLeod Sports Desk here at the little studios in Jackson, Michigan. Good evening, or actually good morning. I know we're on a little late. I'm sorry. Had a little something to take care of and did. So we are alive and well and living on Tulsa time. Anyway, let's get on with the show here because I know everybody would like to go snoo here if I can get my mom to turn it down a bit. Anyway, let's get to it, shall we? We shall. Not kind of like this. Like, yeah, this is nice. Okay, let us get to it. Thank you. Everything is final. The scores, as always, sponsored in part by Caesars Sportsbook, who reminds you that, yes, we are Caesars. Which isn't so bad. I mean, if we seize a woman, we seize her. Anyway, let's get to it, shall we? Good. All right, we got final score. We got final scores in baseball. We got them for you. Yay. First off, Philadelphia Phillies. They beat and circumcised the Mets by a score of 3-0. 3-5-0 for the Phils. 0-2-0 for the Mets. Wheeler got the win for the Phils. He's 10-6. Walker got the loss for the Mets. He's 7-7. Not bad if you're a drinker. Seattle Mariners blanked the Yanks 2-0. Shouldn't that be yank the blanks? 2-6-0 for the Mariners. 6-2 for the Yankees. Sewald gets the win for the Mariners. He's 7-3. Lutej gets the loss. He's 4-2. And Steckenrider gets his fourth save for the Mariners. Tampa Bay Rays defeated the Warriors of Baltimore 9-6, 9-8-1 for the Rays. A 6-13-0 for the Warriors. Chajwa gets his second win for the Rays. He's 2-0. Fry gets fried. He's 4-5 for the Warriors. Okay, what the frick? Get back over there. Thank you. Okay, let's continue on our merry little Dutchman way. Blue Jays over the Red Sox, 9-8, 9-10-1 for the Jays, 8-16-2 for the Red Sox. Dulles gets the win for the Jays. He's 2-3. Barnes gets a loss for the Red Sox. He's 6-4. Romano gets his 10th save. Hallelujah, brothers. Okay, Indians cream the Tigers 7-5, 7-11-2 for the Indians. 5-5-2 for the Tigers. Shaw gets win for Cleveland. He's 5-5. Ramirez gets the loss for the Tigers. He's 1-1. And Class gets his 16th save. Cincinnati Reds over the Pittsburgh Pirates by a score of 3-2. 3-6-0 for the Reds. 2-6-0 for the Pirates. Maul gets the big win. He's 9-3 for the Reds. Wilson gets the loss for the Pirates. He's 2-4. And Givens gets his first save. Braves over the Nationals 5-4, 5-6-0 for the Bravos, 4-12-0 for the Nationals. Fried gets the win. He's 9-7 for the Braves. Corbin gets the loss for the Nats. He's 6-11. And Martin picks up his first save for the Braves. Twins overtook the Astros by a score of 7-5, 7-12-2 for the Twins, 5-10-0 for the Stros. Medea gets the win for the Twins. He's 5-4. McCullers gets the loss for the Stros. He's 9-3. And Colon picks up his fifth save. All right. Where are we? Okay. Did I miss something here, or did I not miss something here? I must have missed something. No, I didn't. Okay, thank you. Okay, I had to go back to see if I missed anything. San Francisco Giants beat the Milwaukee Brewers by a score of 5-4, 5-8-2 for the Giants, 4-6-1 for the Brew. Watson gets the win for the Giants. He's 4-3. Boxberger wasn't great without fries for the Brews. He's 4-3, and Littell gets his first save for the Giants. Kansas City Royals beat the St. Louis Cardinals 6-5, 6-9-0 for the Royals, 5-9-2 for the Cardinals. Barlow would win for the Royals. He's 4-3. Reyes for a loss for the Cardinals. He is 5-5, and Lovelady gets his only save of the season. Rockies over the Marlins 13-8, 13-12-0 for the Rocks, 8-11-0 for the Marlins. Freeland gets a win for the Rockies. He's 3-6. Hess gets a loss for the Marlins. He's 2-2. That's right. He's Chuck Woolery, 2-2. Oakland Athletics over the Texas Rangers, 6-3, 6-12-1 for the A's, 3-4-1 for the Rangers. Caparellian gets the win for the A's. He's 6-4. Lyles gets the loss. He's 5-9. And Trevino gets his 18th save for Oakland. Padres over the Diamondbacks, 2-zip. 2-8-0 for the Pods, 0-3-0 for Diamondbacks. Snell gets a win. He's 6-4. Bumgarner gets a loss. He's 6-7. And Melicon gets his 33rd save. Dodgers, the champion defenders of the World Series, beat up on the Los Angeles Angels 8-2 in the Battle of California. 8-11-0 for the Dodgers, 2-7-0 for the Angels. Buehler gets the win for Dodgers. He's 12-2. Detmers gets a loss. He's 0-2. And finally, in a Sunday night baseball game that was on ABC, it had everything but the Mustard Yellow Jackets, which were seen on ABC Sports Monday Night Football, or Monday Night Baseball, Sunday Afternoon Baseball. I know in the latter stages when they had that deal with the Baseball Network along with NBC, they didn't wear the mustard yellow, but still would have been nice to see, besides on Holy Moly, the guys wearing the true colors of ABC, mustard yellow with a nice ABC Sports patch. That's just my opinion. Yours may vary, and we all live in a society of opinions. White Sox beat the Cubs 9-3, 9-10-0 for the White Sox, 3-6-0 for the Cubbies. Cease got the win for the White Sox. He's 9-6. Davies got the loss. He's 6-9, and it was nice to see Al Michaels make an appearance on the ABC broadcast, regaling us about a story about how Cosell met Bob Costas. Okay, that's enough of that. Let's go now to the minors. Get scores from there. Let's start off with AAA. Call them up. We got a tire flat. No. AAA, Boston, Baltimore, Fred. Bottom of the 8th inning, Vegas over Salt Lake, 10-1. Final scores. In the first game, it was Gwinnett over Charlotte by a score of 8-2, 8-8-1 for Gwinnett, 2-5-1 for Charlotte. Second game, Gwinnett swept it, beat Charlotte 4-3, 4-10-1 for Gwinnett, 3-8-0 for Charlotte. Scranton Wilkes-Barre over Worcester 4-3, 4-12-0 for Scranton Wilkes-Barre, 3-3-0 for Worcester. Rochester over Syracuse 7-6, 7-8-1 for Rochester, 6-8-1 for the Qs. Buffalo over Lehigh Valley 9-3, 9-13-1 for Buffalo, 3-6-0 for Lehigh Valley. Indianapolis beat Iowa 8-5, 8-11-1 for Indy, 5-10-0 for Iowa. Louisville over St. Paul, 4-3, 4-6-1 for Louisville, 3-6-0 for St. Paul. El Paso over Sacramento, 6-3, 6-11-0 for El Paso, 3-8-0 for Sacramento. Tacoma lost to Reno, 10-6, 10-16-0 for Reno, 6-10-2 for Tacoma. Jacksonville beat Norfolk twice in their double dip. First game, 5-0, 5-5-0 for Jacksonville, 0-1-0 for Norfolk. In the second game, 6-4 was final score. 6-7-4 for Jacksonville, 4-5-2 for Norfolk. Norfolk, if you prefer. Columbus over Omaha, 4-zip, 4-7-0 for Columbus, 0-4-0 for Omaha. Final in 10 innings, Durham beat Memphis 4-3, 4-8-0 for Durham, 3-7-1 for Memphis. Round Rock defeated Sugarland 3-2, 3-5-1 for the Round Rock, 2-5-0 for the Sugarland. Nashville over Toledo 4-2, 4-8-0 Nashville, 2-6-1 Toledo. Oklahoma City over Albuquerque 15-10, 15-16-1 for Oklahoma City, 10-13-3 for Albuquerque. Let's spin it around. Go to AA right now. Beep beep. And all is a final in AA. Erie defeated Harrisburg 9-4, 9-13-1 for Erie, 4-12-0 for Harrisburg. Binghamton over Portland 5-0, 5-9-0 Binghamton, 0-3-2 for Portland. Hartford over New Hampshire 10-5, 10-13-0 Hartford, 5-9-1 New Hampshire. In 10 innings, Altoona beat up on Akron 9-8, 9-13-0 Altoona, 8-12-1 Akron. Wichita beat Midland by a score of 5-2, 5-11-0 for Wichita, 2-4-3 for Midland. Rocket City over Chattanooga, and here's a damn good score for you, kids. Rocket City 26. Chattanooga hardly if ever showed up. So whoever replaced Chattanooga only got 3 runs. 26, 23-0 for Rocket City, 3-8-2 for Chattanooga. Arkansas beat Northwest Arkansas 12-10, 12-14-1 for Arkansas, 10-10-2 for Northwest Arkansas. The Biscuits were rising again. Montgomery beat Tennessee 2-0, 2-8-0 for Montgomery, 0-10-0 for Tennessee. Mississippi over Birmingham 5-2, 5-8-0 for Mississippi. For Birmingham 2-6-1, and we got a no-hitter. We don't have our woo-woo, so woo-woo. Somerset over Bowie 7-0, 7-9-0 for Somerset, zip-and 1 for Bowie. Richmond over Reading 2-1, 2-5-0 Richmond, 1-6-0 Reading. Biloxi over Pensacola, which is good with Coca-Cola, 5-2, 5-6-1 Biloxi, 2-7-3 for Pensacola. Springfield That's right, I said it. Springfield over Tulsa 10-9, 10-12-2 for Springfield, 9-6-3 for Tulsa. They're living on Tulsa time. Ha! Corpus Christi over San Antonio 3-1, 3-7-0 Corpus Christi, 1-4-0 for San Antonio. Frisco over Amarillo 8-7, 8-13-2 for Frisco, 7-8-0 for Amarillo. Let's go from the double to the high A. And everything's final there. Wilmington defeated Bowling Green 10-3, 10-8-0 for Wilmington, 3-4-1 for Bowling Green. Winston-Salem over Asheville 9-3, 9-10-0 for Winston-Salem, 3-3-0 for Asheville. In the second game of the first game, Asheville took it 9-4, 9-9-0 Asheville, 4-7-1 Winston-Salem. Fort Wayne over Great Lakes 6-3, 6-11-1 for Fort Wayne, 3-8-1 for Great Lakes. Lansing over Lake County 12-4, 12-14-2 for Lansing, 4-9-0 for Lake County. Greensboro over Hickory 8-7, 8-8-2 for Greensboro, 7-9-0 for Hickory. In 10, Dayton beat West Michigan 5-4, 5-11-1 for Dayton, 4-2-0 for West Michigan. Why can't I turn the camera this way to get me full in so I don't have to look like I'm half down? Okay, let's keep up. South Bend over Peoria 10-5, 10-11-3 for South Bend, 5-8-0 for Peoria. Greenville over Rome 2-1, 2-5-1 for Greenville, 1-3-3 for Rome. Let's go to the low A. Hello A. And let's go for some finals. Dunedin over Fort Myer 3-0, 3-8-0 for Dunedin, 0-1-0 for Fort Myer. Bradenton over Clearwater 14-0, 14-15-0 for Bradenton, 0-4-1 for Clearwater. St. Lucie over Palm Beach 2-1, 2-8-1 for St. Lucie, 1-6-0 for Palm Beach. Lakeland over Daytona 4-3, 4-7-0 Lakeland, 3-7-3 Daytona. Carolina over Kannapolis, 13-1, 13-20-0 for Carolina, 1-7-1 for Kannapolis. Fredericksburg over Fayetteville, 2-0, 2-6-2 for Frederickville, 0-2-2 for Fayetteville. Down East over Delmarva, 9-5 in the second game, 9-10-1 Down East. 5-7-2 Delmarva. In the first game, it was Down East over Delmarva, 6-2, 6-9-1 for Down East, 2-2-1 for Delmarva. Inland Empire, 13-7 winner over Visalia, 13-5-2 for the Inland Empire, 7-3-2 for Visalia. Salem over Lynchburg, 5-4, 5-6-4 Salem, 4-8-1 Lynchburg. Myrtle Beach over Columbia, 2-1, 2-8-0 for Myrtle Beach, 1-5-0 for Columbia. Charleston over Augusta, 8-1, 8-11-2 for Charleston, 1-4-1 for Augusta. Rancho Cucamonga over Lake Elsinore, 13-5, 13-14-0 for Rancho, 5-9-0 for Lake Elsinore. Fresno over San Jose, 4-3, 4-13-1 for Fresno, 3-6-1 for San Jose. Stockton over Modesto, 14-12, 14-11-2 for Stockton, 12-21-0 for Modesto. Tampa and Jupiter were canceled due to rain. That is your mint. That is your mint inbox edition of your baseball scoreboard. Now, let's get to some news headlines before we go totally off the board. In the National Football League, entering the first year of a new regime, the Jaguars could arguably use every young talent they can get, but with the Urban Meyer and Trevor Lawrence era just a month from kicking off, Jayville appears to be shopping one of its hello, thank you. Don't need music. One of its top young investments, according to Jeremy Fowler of ESPN. The Jaguars have given the impression to other teams that they're willing to trade 2020 first-round pick C.J. Henderson just a year after cornerback number 9 overall. Henderson and the Jags are in good standing. Fowler reported Sunday, and the second-year coach just returned from COVID-19 reserve this week, presumably to resume starting reps in training camp, but Jacksonville apparently likes its other cornerbacks enough to dangle Henderson, who joined the team under the previous Doug Marrone, Dave Caldwell regime, on the trade block. The Jags may very well keep the 22-yard corner, but multiple team executives believe he's already available. Wow. I'd like it up, please. Thank you. Henderson saw his 2020 rookie season hindered by a groin injury, missing 8 games and starting the other 8 with mixed results. A Florida standout prior to beginning his NFL career, he managed 6 pass deflections and 1 interception for a porous Jacksonville secondary, which got several reinforcements this offseason. The team's biggest addition came in the form of former Seahawks vet Shaquille Griffin, who landed a 3-year, $44.5 million contract in free agency, and Georgia product Tyson Campbell, another corner drafted 33rd overall this April. As of now, Henderson is still slated to open 2021 as one of the Jags starting corners opposite Griffin, with Campbell, Trey Herndon, and Sidney Jones as the top reserves. We shall see what happens during le pré-saison. But right now, we continue. And Peyton Manning at the 2011 Hall of Fame induction ceremonies had some nice words to say. One of the greatest quarterbacks of all time officially joined the Hall of Fame on Sunday night. And he filled his induction speech with touching words about family and the legacy of the game. But that's not all. Addressing the camp crowd on a special night, Peyton Manning couldn't resist poking fun at a fellow all-timer on his way into the hall with former on-field rival Tom Brady seated in the audience. Manning joked that Brady won't be reminiscing on his own Hall of Fame career until he's eligible in the year 2035. Next year's acceptance speeches will probably shrink to 4 minutes, Manning joked after lamenting this year's shortened window for induction speeches. And speaking of, friend Tom Brady is here tonight, and by the time he is inducted in his first year of eligibility in the year 2035, he'll only have time to post his acceptance speech on his Instagram account. Manning also took opportunities to poke fun at the speech time limit, joking that former Ravens star Ray Lewis had just wrapped up his own long-winded speech from the 2018 class. But his remarks to Brady got some of the heartiest laughs after the Hall of Fame crowd initially booed mention of the Buccaneers quarterback's name. Boo! Obviously, New England Patriot fans. Brady and Manning, of course, were famous rivals when the latter was still active in the NFL. The two went head 17 different times, starting in 2000. But Brady, who turned 44 this month, is still suiting up with no end in sight. Now, NFL players are not eligible to be inducted into the Hall of Fame until they've been retired at least 5 years. So Manning is forecasting Brady hanging up the cleats in 2030 when the longtime Patriot quarterback will be 53, although he won't look it. All right, let's go now to the Olympics, and it's our last time with the 5 golden rings bit. But right now, let's do this. The gold medals are actually the medal count official. The U.S., 39 gold, 41 silver, 33 bronze for 113. China, 38, 32, 18 for 88. Japan in third with 27, 14, and 17 for 58. Great Britain in fourth, 22, 21, 22 for 65. Fifth place, the Russian Olympic Committee with 20, 28, 23 for a total of 71. Next to them, Australia in sixth place with 17, 7, and 22 for 46. Seventh place, Netherlands, 10, 12, 14, 36. Eighth place, France, 10, 12, 11, 33. Is that what I'm doing? 2, 4, 6. Seventh, Netherlands. France in eighth, 10, 12, 11, 33. Ninth place, Germany, 10, 11, 16, 37. And topping off the top 10, Italy with 10, 10, 20, or 39 in total. Our friends north of the border, it's now Monday. Thank you for interrupting the conjecting. Our friends north of the border, as I was saying before interruption, Canada was in 11th with 7, 16, 11, and 24. The Summer Games now shift focus to Paris, France, while the Winter Games going to Beijing in February, along with the Super Bowl. NBC is going to have one hell of a headache. I'll explain reason coming up in my commentary. But right now, let's get back to more headlines, more scores, and I'll give you my commentary on the end of the Olympics. In basketball, Lauri Markkanen has spent his entire career up to this point with the Bulls, but the fifth-year forward is ready for a fresh start somewhere else. After being regulated to a reserve role with the Bulls midway through the 2020-2021 season, Markkanen has made it clear he wants to be traded. One team interested in Markkanen is the New Orleans Pelicans, according to Mark Stein, veteran NBA reporter. The Pelicans $17 million trade exception, and as such, they should be able to offer him a very sizable deal. Chicago is reportedly seeking a first-round pick to facilitate a trade. Meanwhile, the Charlotte Hornets also have strong interest, according to The Athletic and Stadium's Shams Charania. The Bulls extended a qualifying offer to Markkanen late last month, which made him a restricted free agent. As such, the Bulls will have an opportunity to match any outside offers Markkanen receives when and if he signs an outside offer sheet. The Bulls will have 3 days to decide if they want to match it. But so the obvious question is, do they really want to match it? I mean, come on. Given the history between two sides, it would be super surprising if the Bulls allow Markkanen to sign elsewhere. After all, the two sides failed to reach an agreement on an extension prior to the start of last season. Now, the Bulls were reportedly listening to offers for him leading up to the trade deadline, and then he was bumped to the bench. Now, it's certainly not the typical chain of events for young players who are very valued and viewed as long-term pieces by the organization. After the Bulls failed to qualify for postseason play last year, Markkanen made it clear he thought he had more to offer an organization. Yeah. Markkanen had his limitations as a player. He's far from a dominant defender, and he has dealt with his fair share of injuries over the course of his career. However, he is a reliable shooter. He shot 40% from long range last season, and as such, he could provide a team with some legitimate floor spacing. Now, given the emphasis placed on shooting and spacing in today's NBA, Markkanen could prove to be a very valuable piece in the right situation. We wish him well either way. Now then. We do have some sad news to report on the college football front. No other teams in the Big 12 are leaving for the SEC. Nope, this is serious. Daggum is an exclamation that emphasizes what one is saying. Enough can't be said about Bobby Bowden. The second all-time winningest coach in Division I history passed away at the age of 91. Bowden's signature expression serves as only an introduction to the coach known late in his career as St. Bobby. He will be remembered as the ultimate gentleman, Christian, husband, and leader. He also could coach a little. Bowden disclosed in July that he was diagnosed with a terminal medical condition. It was later revealed by his son, Terry, that Bowden was fighting pancreatic cancer. 11 years after coaching his last game at Florida State, Bowden left this earth with his legacy never to be forgot. He is survived by his wife, Ann, 6 children, 2 of whom became football coaches in Tommy and Terry. Bowden took what started as West Florida Seminary in the 50s to glorious heights. Florida State won 2 national championships in 93 and 99, produced dozens of All-Americans, and ran roughshod over the ACC when the program finally joined the conference. Yay! Bowden did it with a folksy charm that made him almost a cliche of a Southern football coach, except cliches don't redefine the game. And consider Bowden mingled with presidents, governors, players, mamas, daddies, kids, dogs, frogs, hogs, cats, bats, He flat out made Florida State a brand. He was the Forrest Gump of the sport. Andy Bagnato, longtime national college football writer for the Tribune of Chicago, said half of the history of college football, he was around for it. Well, close. Bowden's 56-year coaching career began in 1954 as an assistant at Howard College, which is now Stanford, where he once played. His charm had a self-deprecating quality. The man could always laugh at himself. How many college football coaches had their own Burger King commercial? One. Following a 4-7 season in West Virginia, which he led from 70 to 75 before taking over Florida State, Bowden returned to campus to find himself hung in effigy. A bedsheet screaming, "Bye-bye, Bobby," was unfurled from a dormitory that faced his office. Bowden once said, "I had gotten used to it. I thought it was a part of the scenery." In 1970, his first West Virginia team led Pittsburgh 35-8 at halftime. Pitt didn't punt in the second half, ran 6-7 plays, and eventually won 36-35. It was the only time his wife Ann cried after a game, Bowden said. Now check out the scores from Bowden's 2 national championship teams in 93. FSU scored 40 points in 7 games, winning 6 of those by at least 38 points. In 99, the Seminoles went 12-0, winning by an average of more than 3 touchdowns. And none of it seemed to move Bowden beyond his signature exclamation. Forget any definition. Daggum was his. No one said it with more southern laid-back charm than the coach known as St. Bobby late in his career. Today, a statue stands outside Doak Campbell Stadium in Tallahassee, Florida, following a 34-year career leading the Noles. It is big. The coach is bigger than football, and bigger than life. In that stadium, he practically built with his excellence the FSU brand in 2013, spelled out "Dadgum" on the field from a perch high above the field. Bowden smiled, his signature smile that frequently lit up a locker room, a university, and a life. He is truly one of the best. He won his record 339th game in 2003, passing the late Joe Paterno. After 9 decades, Bowden's story stands as a shining example of the American dream. And for those of us who watched him religiously, we say thank you, Bobby, for all you've done for college football. You will be missed, but you will never, ever be forgotten. And that's true. And that's the headlines. It's 19 minutes past 1 o'clock. We had a little bit of a problem, but We got it fixed. Everything is fixed now, so we can do a straight show. Yay. Okay, let's go from 1A to a good A, and that is to some football, otherwise known as soccer. And here we go. Sorry about that. In Scottish Premiership action, Celtic over Dundee 6-0. Hibernian over Ross County 3-0. Aberdeen over Livingston 2-1. St. Johnstone and Motherwell tied at 1. For Championship Soccer, Fulham and Middlesbrough tied at 1. Coventry City beat Nottingham Forest 2-1. FA Cup qualifying, AFC Emley defeated Congleton 3-2. Coventry United over Worcester City 4-1. Baldock Town over Wembley 1-0. Clapton over Hodgson Town 1-0. Tuffley Rovers over Windsor 3-2. In the Lowland League, Rangers over East Kilbride 2-1. Welsh had Penryncock beat the New Saints 2-1. The Irish Premier Division, it was St. Patrick's Athletic over Dundalk 4-1. Shamrock Rovers over Longford Town 1-0. German DFB Cup, Stalke over Villingen 4-1. Köln and Karl Zeiss Jena tied at 1, but Köln still won on penalties 4-2. Rotweib Collins lost to Jan Rosenberg 3-0. Wolfsburg over Proben Muster 3-1. Ellsberg and Mans tied at 2. Mans won 8-7 on penalty. Hertha Berlin over Meppen 1-0. Waldorf Mannheim beat Eintracht Frankfurt 2-1. Union Berlin over München 1-0. Fortuna Düsseldorf over Oldenburg 5-0. Hamburg over Braunschweig. Braunschweig 2-1. Hansa Rostock over Heidelheim 3-2. And Freiburg over Würzburger Kickers 1-0. In the Coppa Italia, Ternana, Uniscano, and Avellino tied at 1, but TU won 4-3 on penalties. Perugia over Sudatrol 1-0. Alessandra over Padova 2-0. French League, Rennes and Lens tied at 1. Clermont over Bordeaux 2-0. Nice and Reims 1-1. Goose City, Saint-Étienne and Lorient 1-1. Angers 2, Strasbourg 0. Metz and Lille 3-3. Marseille over Montpellier 3-2. In the Austrian Bundesliga, Salzburg over Vienna 1-0. Austria Vienna and Rapid Vienna over Pellets Whack 3-0. Tyrol over Lask 1-1. Belgium, their soccer went like this. Royal Antwerp over Standard League 5-2. Sporting de Charleroi over Oud Heavily Leuven 1-1. Anderlecht over Serang 3-0. Ostende over Ghent 1-0. On the streets of Brazil, National over Flamengo 4-0. Atletico Goianese over Ceará. Actually, not over Sierra. They tied at 0-0. Same score for Santos and Corinthians, 0-0. Atletico Mineiro 2, Juventude 1. America Mineiro 1, Fluminense 0. Fortaleza over Palmeiras 3-2. Bahia over Cubaya 3-0. Let's see. Norway, you had Tromsø over Mongelen 3-2. Haugesund over Bold over Haugesund 5-4. Sandefjord and Lillestrøm tied at 1. Viking 3, Kristiansund 2. Stabæk 3, Sharpsborg 1. In Portugal, Tondela over Santa Clara 3-0. Portimonense over Victoria Guimarães 1-0. Porto over Belenenses 2-0. Pacos de Ferreira over Famalicão 2-0. Russian Premier League, Khimki and Rostov tied at 1. Dynamo Moscow over CSKA Moscow 2-1. Rubin Kazan over Akhmat Grozny 2-1. Sweden, Haken over Österlen 5-0. AIK over Djurgårdens 4-1. Elfsborg 3, Degerfors 0. Göteborg and Hammarby 0-0. Switzerland, Lugano over St. Gallen 2-1. Basel over Serviette 5-1. Zurich over Luzern 3-1. In United States Major League Soccer, it was Minnesota over Houston 2-1. Toronto and New York City tied at 2. Dallas over Austin 2-0. Colorado over and Sporting Kansas City tied at 0. Portland Timbers over Real Salt Lake 3-2. Chicago Fire over New York Red Bulls 2-1. Miami over Nashville 2-1. New England over Philadelphia 2-1. San Jose over the LA Football Club 2-1. There you go. Right there in a nutshell. And check to see if we got any media reports, media outlet here. And we got a little bit of news, if we can find the news. Rogers Sportsnet, the Canadian version of Fox Sportsnet. Well, with streaming services for sports broadcast is the latency delay between when things happen on the field and when the television audience sees. This exists even for conventional broadcast delivered via cable or satellite, where most signals there get into TV 6 to 7 seconds after they're originally made, meaning that you're seeing a play not right as it happens in the stadium, but a short time later. However, 6 seconds is only rarely long enough for sports spoilers from tweets, push notifications, or anything else. The lag is much more prominent when it comes to streaming or internet-delivered signals. A May article from Brian Ring at Fierce Video projects the delay there is 30, 45, or even up to 60 seconds behind real time. Now, that's enough lag to lead to a lot of spoiler issues, whether from app notifications, tweets, or even just a neighbor with a conventional TV celebrating a play you haven't seen yet. Now, as per an article published Thursday by Anthony Krupp of Sportico, though, Canada's Rogers Sportsnet, which launched full over-the-top streaming service Sportsnet Now in March 2016, unlike the U.S. sports streaming options so far, they give you everything on their conventional channels, and their technology partner, First Light Media, are claiming that they've cracked the streaming code and will be able to provide a level of latency half that of conventional broadcasts. Hooey. On one hand, it seems hard to believe that there's a near future solution that would take the vast delays on streaming. Thank you. Services not only down toward the level of conventional broadcast, and not only to that level, but to half of that level. Even if current streaming lag was pegged at 30 seconds, the lowest of Ring's estimates cut to 3 seconds would be 90% decrease. We rarely see 90% decreases all at once, especially for a problem that countless people have been trying to solve for a while. But if they can actually deliver on that, that's incredible. It could lead to something more revolutionary in sports streaming. Now, it's worth mentioning that there are some important factors to consider. The 6 to 7 figures for conventional cable or satellites, relatively standard across providers and homes, because of the end user connections are similar. But that's not the case for internet connected TVs. There are questions of if the TV is hardwired to the home's internet or accessing it via Wi-Fi, which is slower, as we now know. What internet connection is, what its speeds are at the time in question. Now, with variables, including the number of other devices at or on the home network and the number of users accessing the same internet service provider and more. Now, as anyone who's ever tried speed testing websites, Speedtestnet is one free one, knows those numbers change a lot, and they're often not close to the ones your ISP quotes for your plan. The quoted numbers are often best case scenarios. There's a reason those plans tend to be marketed as up to X speed, not X speed. And that is Rogers' fault, but it does mean that even a great broadcast latency improvement for Sportsnet Now may not hit the stated times for all end viewers. And another factor consider is video quality. Higher video quality usually means more data, and more data usually means less speed. So, at any rate, at First Light and Sportsnet now actually can get sports streaming video latency down to 3 seconds. That'll be worth it. And it's worth noting that it isn't as bad of a thing for Rogers as might be for ESPN. Rogers is in an interesting place given all the different areas that they hit the sports market. They run TV channels and other radio and digital media, but also are a cable provider and internet service provider, to say nothing of their team ownership, which is part of why they and Rival Bell, which is also in all those categories, went to a full over-the-top service 5 years ago, 4 years ago. Good night, Mom. Right. Thank you, Mom, for your cameo appearance. Thank you. I'll continue. When U.S. Sports Network still haven't made that leap, and a direct consumer offering like Sportsnet now is pretty good for Rogers margin-wise. And for everybody else therein. And if you got a VPN, join up. More the merrier. Okay, we are at 1:30, which means we're about 15 minutes away from probably going into a little weirdness. Yes. Okay, before we put ourselves into our last segment, is always the international scores. Before we do that, let's give a little talk. And indeed, this talk is all about the end of the Olympics. Now, granted, for 17 days, these Olympics have not been their usual Olympic self due to the pandemic, the state of emergency, which is hit Japan. So there was a doubt the Tokyo Olympics would even be. But after 17 days, I can safely say without fear of repercussion, I'm glad they're done. From the opening ceremonies, which has been a bust, which for the first time in 33 years has been a bust for the America's Olympic Network, NBC. Obviously, they of course became America's Olympic Network after the disaster of the 80 Olympics, which we never went to, and we'll explain why and why that has an effect on the Beijing Olympics. Their coverage, without the fans and without all the hoopla you expect from an Olympics, just wasn't interesting. It's going to show in ratings if it hasn't already. Their next summer games will be in Paris, France, and hopefully by that time everything will go back to normal. Yeah. Get ready to have those pigs fly. But some very interesting mentions that we do so. Simone Biles decided that mental health comes first. And everybody, including myself, was speculating why she decided to leave the team in some, if not all, of the individual competitions in gymnastics. Was it because of the pressure of the Olympics and training and all that? Yes. But there was much more. And no matter how you sugarcoat it, a lot of people, myself included, are in full agreement of one thing. Larry Nassar. That's right. Her name was among those of the 400 to 600 female gymnasts who were assaulted by this creep And my theory is that when she went into where they were holding the gymnastics competition, she sort of had I know she had the twisties, but I think her mind, she was having a little PTSD flashback to Rio and Dr. Larry Nasser. And we all know what happened there. The trial and everything else is still in her head. And I hope she does get help. And when she does, I hope whomever helps her will get rid of all the ghosts and demons. And I wish her well on her way to good health. Go on vacation, a very long one. Then I think maybe you should have done this in Rio, but you are who you are, which is an athlete and someone who deserves their chance in the sunshine. But I think there comes a time when, even for your mental health, you got to say, no more. No more. I gotta find myself. And I got to figure things out. So there you go. But Simone Biles did the right thing on both ways. So now let's hope she gets help and finds a center and a balance. As for the broadcasts themselves, it was very hard for NBC and most of the Olympic broadcasters to do what they normally do at Olympics. Keep the viewer entertained. Because let's face it, in Olympics where there were no fans, no crowds, no celebrations, no parties, no unusual things that might captivate us and keep us watching, just wasn't there. The spark wasn't there. The flame was, but the spark wasn't. And by the way, NBC, maybe next time, maybe in Beijing, you can allow people to if you have like Tokyo Flame Cam, like you did for this one, if you have like Beijing Cam or Beijing Flame Cam, you can allow us to get a screenshot of it without pasting the network logo or what it is to where the pictures are meaningless. Just a thought. There is a thought. Beyond that, I found some very interesting things. First off, the weightlifter made it. Did not medal, however. And the woman who, sort of spoiled things for the U.S. running team. I forget her name, and I think most America has already forgotten about her, which in some cases may be good. She didn't even medal. But those that did medal were proud to hear the national anthem and were not afraid to say so. There was very little to no actual protest in the medal ceremonies. Well, there was one with the young person made an X with her arms sort of like this over her purple hair. But that lost steam about 15 minutes. But again, these Olympics were not exactly what we had expected. The country of Japan was under a state of emergency due to COVID, and to keep the Olympics going without doing another cancellation, the Tokyo Olympic Committee did what they had to do. No fans, no fun. So, just what did we see in 17 days? We saw just sort of, I don't know, niche sports, I guess you could call it. From water polo to netball to bicycling and baseball. The U.S. did pretty good. In fact, all the teams, all the countries who were a part of it did fantastic. Network wise, the gold went to the Seven Network Australia. Silver went to CBC and BBC, with honorable mention to Televisa. And the bronze once again went to NBC, which this time didn't bring the contingent of people who they usually do, which is about 200, 300, 400 people. They had to work with the Ultimate Skeleton Crew, about maybe 100, 150. Most of their commentators were actually doing it from studios in the lovely city of Stamford, Connecticut, where their NBC Sports Group is headquartered. Now, I thought it was pretty decent. I'm just going to be honest with you. It was too safe for even mention. I was hoping they would at least, have a little fun, do a little thing with anime, but again, just wasn't there. The spark, the glimmer, that creative glint just wasn't there. Toriko did fantastic as host. So did some of the other hosts. I wish I had the scriptive, but I do. Hang on for a moment here. Excuse me. Boom. There we go. Okay. Here we go. There was a record 178 commentators for the Olympics. And they were not only working for NBC, but USA Network, CNBC, NBCSN, Golf Channel, Peacock, their streaming service, Telemundo, the Olympic Channel, the NBC Sports app, NBC Universal, and NBCOlympics.com. They had over 7,000 hours of coverage. So, who were there? Who them were? Let's see if we can do all the things here. Yeah, but dabba dooby 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 doo 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 doo. Okay. Some of these were let me just do this here for a moment. There we go. Oh, we can get it. Yeah, that's right. We got him. Okay, by the way, let's see. Mike Tirico, he was good as the host. Very nice. Rebecca Lowe did the daytime, and she knocked it out of the park. Ahmad Fareed did coverage on the USA from the NBC Sports Group's headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut. Liam McHugh also was doing the USA Network hosting duties, also from Stamford. Catherine Tapper did the hosting from Tokyo. Shepard Smith, well, hi there. He did the hosting duties also in Tokyo. Megan Triplett did the CNBC hosting duties as well. Carl Quintella, not bad. Did did some things for the CNBC portion of their coverage. Cara Banks did some hosting duties. Damian Hack also hosting duties. Carolyn Mano also did some hosting duties for the Olympic Channel, as did Tessa Bonhomme. Now, the Peacock commentators were, Bridget Sloan and John Roethlisberger. Laurie Hernandez was good as a gymnastics studio analyst, along with Matt Isom and Akbar Gabajabayamila. Did the Peacock's morning show, Tokyo Live. Rich Eisen hosted Tokyo Gold. Kari Champion and Kenny Mayne hosted Tokyo Tonight, all on Peacock, by the way. Jack Collingworth also was a part of the Peacock coverage. Lindsay Ciarnek, Lolo Jones, MJ Acosta Ruiz did the On Her Turf at the Olympics, the first NBC Olympic show dedicated to covering women's sports. Amber Ruffin was a part of the Amber Ruffin show late night, did her commentary. The correspondents, Mary Carrillo, excellent. Tony Hawk was okay. Steve Kornacki, Tara Lipinski, Jimmy Roberts, Johnny Weir, exquisite. But now the commentators are the Taters of Common. Let's see here. Do we have... No, we'll go through all of them here, and I'll give you my hem and haws and do-si-dos here. If I can do it all rapidly. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. There we are. Now they're big. Okay, now that we got the cadavers here, let's just get to the commentators, and there was a lot of them. About, I'd say 25% of them, 25, I'm not going to say 25%, I'm going to just say maybe 40% were on site, while the rest were either in Stamford, Connecticut, or at Sky Sports in the United Kingdom, which is Great Britain. And also at CNBC's global headquarters in Inglewood, or 30 Rockefeller Center in New York, or Telemundo Center in Miami. They were good. They were good. Be they there or not there. Now, as I said, I got to give NBC the credit they deserve. Under extraordinary circumstances, they did okay. They didn't do great, but they did okay. Now we got a little problem. And the problem is going to be in February of 2022. NBC has the Super Bowl, plus NBC also has the Beijing Winter Olympics. Yeah, Beijing Winter Games. Well, of course, stands to reason. They had the Summer Games. But this year, as in their Summer Games in Beijing, this year has reared its ugly head of a problem. Threat of a boycott. I'll explain. If you recall, NBC, their first Olympics was supposed to be the 1980 Olympics in Moscow. Then Russia invaded Afghanistan, and the United States was pulled into it. Jimmy Carter decided, we're not going to allow Team USA to go to Moscow. NBC got the rights to air the Moscow Olympics for the paltry sum of $87 million. When Jimmy Carter announced the boycott, oh boy, that caused a big headache for NBC. How much of a big headache? About 2/3 of their affiliates would not even air highlights from the Moscow Olympics, or even their own or even their own networks, poultry 1 hour, 2 hour daily broadcast updates. It wasn't until Ted Turner got involved in something called the Goodwill Games did anyone really care. Here's the ironic thing. The Goodwill Games, after the Olympics in Moscow, well, the Goodwill Games started in Moscow. How's that for irony, folks? But this time, they got themselves a big problem. Beijing still hasn't cleaned up their, and I will say the word, alleged human rights abuses. They're reported human rights abuses. They're confirmed human rights abuses. Their genocide against the Uyghurs. Their crackdown on Hong Kong's freedom and democracy. And let's not forget the elephant in the room, Taiwan. China still claims it. Taiwan doesn't even want them around and has declared their independence. China says, over our you-know-what. And have been still to this day trying to get them repatriated, if that's a word. So tonight during the Olympics, the NBC announced during the closing ceremonies, the NBC announcers intoned their usual thing: "We'll see you in Beijing." Only one problem: we may not be going to Beijing. Joe Biden will have somewhat the final say. He's got about 5.5, 6 months to either say we're going or we're going to boycott the games. NBC has the contract and has not spent millions, but billions. Joe Biden, tread on the water lightly, because the decision you make is going to have quite an effect on this country and the Olympics in general. So are we going to Beijing? Well, like any good show, you got to have a cliffhanger. And this is about as cliffhangery as you can get. I give the Olympics 3.9 out of 10. With the pandemic and the state of emergency that was announced, just didn't feel like an Olympics. It felt like, well, a rehearsal, just to be blunt and honest. While I do hope we go to Beijing, I wouldn't even put money yet on it. We'll just see what our president has to say about it. Anyway, that's my opinion. I'd like to hear from you. Please be kind and make your comments on our Facebook page. Well, the L2C Sports Final, as it's called. And we'll read some of them on the air. Anyway, let's get on with everything in the World Cup of Basketball. Latvia defeated Belarus in qualifications, 92-83. And as we look to see anything more, well, that's about it for the world thing. By the way, in the PGA, a Mexican by the name of Answer Abraham won the St. Jude Invitational, the WGC FedEx St. Jude Invitational in a playoff, minus 16 in total, which I'm going to say was not, or 16 under. Great win, a great victory. And that is going to wrap things up for us. Here on a night, we say goodbye to the Olympics and goodbye to our old logo and look, and we debuted the new look. We hope you like it. We're going to keep it for a long time. We'll be back to normal on Monday, 11:35 Eastern, right here on youtube.com/Lugnet6. I'm Steve the Baxman Baxley saying thank you for watching. We're back tomorrow night. From all of us here at Sports Final, have a great morning here on the East Coast, still evening on the West Coast. Enjoy the beginnings of Monday and the rest of your Sunday on West Coast. This has been a presentation of Mr. Fine Creativity Productions in association with the L2C Media Network and L2C Sports. I'm Steve the Baxman Baxley for Harry Von Stuttgart and the whole gang. Thanks for joining us, and good night, everybody, from the Fred McLeod Sports Desk in Jackson, Michigan.